What's up? All right, can y'all hear me? Okay. Mic test 1 2. Is that coming through? No voice. Oh. So okay, so Kate can hear me, but all right, cool. Let's try to get some shit going here. Today sucked. And I'll show you why for me. Okay. I was very red today. Um, I shot my shots, didn't have much work out for me. There really is only like one trade top of my head that I'm upset about with myself that I think I mismanaged. Um, so uh, bear with me a second. Okay. So let's look at this SNTI to start off with, and we'll just go over my trades. I have barely any winners today. So we'll just go over these and we can kind of see, if I played them poorly or how I could have adjusted to be better. But I feel like I traded okay. I just didn't have much go my way. It started off feeling like the day was going to be pretty decent. Um, I had, okay, so here's my first trade on SNTI. We had this set up here, ADMA, 5-minute flag, support looking left. VPA was there, stair stepping down volume on the 5. And I got pretty good entries. I'm trying to push size a little bit more than I have before. It's like a big thing I'm working on. I feel like I've been pretty disciplined about what I'm taking. And so now the next step to level up for me is pushing some size. And so that's what I was doing today. A lot of these $2 to $5 stocks I was trying to take, 12, 15, 18,000 shares today. So all things considered, not really a bad day considering as far as risk management, considering the size I was taking, but very little worked for me. So anyway, you can see here, I had 12,000 right here. Pretty good entry here off 230. I mean, that's the support level. That's where support was. We had ADMA coming up. It was proper pullback, and price reversed. So we got the breakout volume. I'm scaling here. As we're reaching the top of this flagpole into 240. Out a little bit over half, and then scaled more. So pretty good trade there. But what I did was take some back, which here's the thing about this, right? This is not really enough of a breakout. If you look at the level we're trying to get over, we just basically tested that pivot to the left on really strong volume. So, when this pulled back again, I'm thinking, okay, this is the pullback to VWAP before we break over that high. So that's why I got long again here and added all those shares back because not that much of a move there. Ultimately, I'll see if I got shaken out of this or yeah, I probably got shaken out of this, which is not ideal, but it's a couple cents. 6,000 shares, couple cents. Thought maybe, what is that, 233 to 230. Yeah, this is where I tried getting long again, thinking that they would U this back up, and they kind of did, this is where it got tougher and I started to give some back, but was adding size again down here, getting kind of chopped around. And this is where I can improve, right? So the tough part is we got increasing volume. Okay, so this is the setup I wanted to work, didn't work. We got increasing volume down here, but we're back down at the support area. And this is still in a range, right? And this is still setting up to be a higher low right here. It could still go back up. So, that's why I'm continuing to keep eyes on this and continuing to um, try to, get a position here. It looks like I got chopped here. This is where it broke down, so I'm like right for taking off this position. But here I'm starting to add back in this zone. It looks like I get shaken out here at this 223 when it breaks below 225. That's probably not great. I mean, it does look like it wants to go down, but like if I'm gonna stop out at that 225, if that sucks it back up like it did, well, here I am having to basically buy those shares back at pretty much a worse price. So I can manage this a little bit better. I need to have a better plan for how I want to do this type of action because this happens all the time. If you watch 1 minute charts, especially on these dips, this is what they do a lot of times. They'll put in that wick low, and then when the price starts to revert back up a little bit, it's not always gonna just like retrace quickly. It's gonna do this little, just a couple cents up, not let anyone feel comfortable about their dip buys. Put in this flat bottom, and it could either H over, lowercase h over and make new lows, and that's what you don't want to happen, right? Or it can double bottom or put even a little higher low in and suck it right back up. So this is not where I need to get shaken on this, especially with size. I need to have a little bit better plan. If I'm buying this dip right here, I've got to have a better plan for this spot right here, okay? Because I got stopped out, held the level, I bought it back. And then what does it do again? A triple bottom. Now, to be fair to me, this is shit price action. Like this sucks. This little like triple bottom, let's just, put a flat bottom and that could wash out everybody if it wanted to, but oh, we suck it back up. It's really, really tricky. This is not clean A plus bullish stuff. This is trying to play this trappy market that we're in right now. Okay, so I am in for this, and as it starts to break back above 30, like I'm scaling against VWAP, but I still have plenty, and I get this move up to here and take the rest off. So I think I was doing okay at this point. I wasn't like super green on it, but I think I wasn't like super red on it either. I think I gave some back here. Nice trade, gave a little back here, got it back here basically. So I'm probably green on this at this point. I don't really feel like doing the math. But then this got me good. Again, this thing is tightening up inside of a wedge. Now, it's kind of a symmetrical deal, but we are starting to put in these higher lows and get really tight here. I've got trend lines everywhere. I was playing this all day. Sorry, it looks like a mess. But so, I'm buying here. There are other people on this thing. I'm doing a pretty good job at soaking dips off 30 and low 30s. If you've watched my other streams, that's been something that I've really worked on. So, pretty happy considering what I'm going for, that I'm staying disciplined to just soak in these dips and really not getting shaken out of this. I mean, I didn't cut on any of these. I bought on the dips. I gave this thing a chance, Starts to push up right here, top of the range. I'm scaling a little bit because I see trend lines is trying to break out of, pivots is trying to break out of. So I got 3 of my 15,000 shares off, but this thing came out of nowhere, and it was a big red candle. I ended up getting out at 217, 218, somewhere in here. I mean, that's a pretty big loss to the face right there. From 30, that's over 10 cents. What is that, like 15 cents on 12,000 shares? That got me good. That took my green SNTI name to about red 2,000 for the day on that name. I don't feel too bad about this. I mean, there wasn't much making moves today. I mean, in retrospect, the only thing that you can really say is the market was shit today. Maybe I shouldn't have been playing so much size, but it's where I'm at in my journey. It's what I'm working on. So I can afford the loss. No big deal. But that's not what we wanted to see. So that sucked. Did I play this thing again? I think after that I gave up on this. Yeah, I just died. Okay. let's look at AVYA. I tried this one a couple of times and never really got it where I wanted to. So at first, if you remember, I can't remember if I did a stream on this or if I just posted it on Twitter or whatever, but this had a nice setup coming into today uh, on the hourly and daily. So let's zoom at that. If you look at this daily, like we closed the gap, right, to this 203 or whatever. Closed that gap, pulled back, held support here at the gap entry, and started to pull back up. It's not really an inverse head and shoulders, but it is kind of like this little like cup and handle looking thing. And then on the hourly I liked it too because we're making higher lows, and now we have this 194 support that I liked, and so I was liking seeing this thing set up over 194s. So I called this. I put this one on the floor. Over this 194. We had a pretty decent volume push up, and then decent VPA pulling back. It did kind of get increasing volume down here a little bit, but this 194 is a pretty significant level. So your Dale saying we'll come back to that. You're surprised I took SNTI? I mean, it was coiled. It had volume. There was nothing else moving today. That's where eyes were, so that's why I took it. It's not like I was avoiding something else that had all the heat. I mean, nothing broke out really today. So had some pretty. Let's see, 194. I started in at 198 off of VWAP. Got more down on this dip, 196. Added more here. This thing started chopping sideways. I mean, when we held the support level a couple times, and it started to push back up, it still felt really heavy and wasn't. We weren't getting much. I started to just protect my downside risk a little bit. I'm trying to be better about that too. If I don't start seeing what I want to see, start to protect myself. And I did against VWAP too, because once we pulled back under VWAP, it's pretty significantly, and then we popped up to it, VWAP becomes resistance when you're underneath it. So took off the rest when we came back down. I didn't see any reason why we needed to come back down here after this double bottom and test these lows again. So took it off. A few $100 loss on this one the first time I tried it. It recovered, got some decent volume up back above VWAP, had a really nice 5-minute flag riding the 8 here. Took this again a little bit higher here. So this one, I needed the imminent breakout. So I did hold this down further than I should have for the size that I had. And that's a little bit of a mistake considering how much size I had right here in the range. And we've talked about this before. So that's something to make note of. Like if it's okay to take something that's got a really great setup if you need it to go immediately, but keep in mind that you need it to go immediately. Don't hold it for a bigger dip than you can afford for the size that you have. So that was a mistake there. Ended up stopping out down here and kind of at the low. So not really great. I can't remember how quickly this happened. But not the best management on this one. So took a bigger loss on that one than I probably should have. I tried this a little bit into the day to see if it would squeeze out, but really just kind of break even chop in this mess. I bought into this breaking wall, and when it didn't go, I just had to take it off. So that's AVYA. That was my second Redis name. PRPL. Yeah, I traded AVCT. I'm going to get to that one. PRPL. This one was the headache name to me today. You can see how much I was in and out of this thing trying to be there for it. The very first setup, which I thought was a good one, was my first trade of the day. Was in pre-market. Nothing else was really moving in the morning. And if you look at this 5-minute flag at the time, that's beautiful VPA. I had this 405 level marked from somewhere. Let's see, 405. Yeah, there's this pivot over here. You kind of have like the 4 psych level. So, it was enough for me to feel like, okay, that's a level. Beautiful 5-minute VPA. ADMA's caught up. Got that nice volume push, really low volume pullback. So I took this, gave it a chance to come down here to 4. And when it held 4 and didn't want to start pushing back up, I had to take it off and take the loss there. That's okay. I mean, that's a good setup. You take it. And then, this morning had a nice strong volume push through VWAP. So now I'm interested in dips, right? And I miss this dip because I was expecting it to come down here more into 390s, upper 380s. I wanted to buy in here, but it didn't come. So this pushes up and it seems like it's just going to 1 minute flag over this area. So, bought some in case it broke out, kind of dilly-dallied around, and I think we get, yeah, we get one of these like breaks a new highs and it doesn't go. So I just took it off for the small, 1 cent gain or whatever. Comes back down, we have this kind of upper trend line retest, lower volume pullback. So took some back here, again, pretty small. Again, tries to break over 4, comes back down, take it off. But when it holds VWAP and kind of pulls back up, I get in back pretty heavy. Let's see what's going on in the 5 at this point. Yeah, so we're over VWAP. ADMA's caught up. This is the first time it starts to really look like a 5-minute flag after the bell. So that's why I take size here. Again, like I get my first 3,000 off on the break to 4, and this shit just, comes back down. Now we're, at true support. I didn't freak out, added those shares back, but here we are. This thing is just kind of dying off, and so I gotta, eat the loss there. I stay with it because again, there's only a couple things on the radar right now. It's SNTI, it's PRPL. Those really were the ones to pay attention to out the gates this morning. And so it kind of felt like one of those is gonna curl back up, and it had all the volume. So, here I am fighting this thing. Now this is more of a demand play, right? This is, come back down to areas that it's held previously in the day. And so we're thinking this thing curls back up. So kind of got chopped in here where it kept coming down further and further. I mean, I ended up taking it off, not full size, but I ended up taking off that medium sized position there right at the last little dip down. But at this point, I mean, this could just have sewered all the way out. So, when this does start to make a higher low and act like it wants to be, maybe kind of set up this kind of inverse head and shoulders look, I start to take a little bit back. I wait for a proper dip on this one, take them back. So finally, here we are getting a little bit of the move in my favor, trying to get back to green here. Added some back on VWAP here, so this trade's going okay. Scale up into the high a day push. So this was pretty good. I mean, I was down, 2,500 or 3,000 on this name before these trades right here that got me probably pretty close to break even, and then I took a couple cuts right here thinking that maybe we higher low, and when we didn't, I, took some paper cuts there. Again, decent little trade here. Maybe I wasn't green yet, I don't know, but another little green trade here. When we get back over VWAP, let's see what the 5 is looking like here. Is that, yeah, that's here. So a 5-minute flag over VWAP, some volume ramp off of this tiny little desolate area. And then, nice move up on decent size. So I'm not really unhappy with how I traded this. It's just so much chop and never wanted to have any follow through. So I feel like, most of my ideas about it were fine. This one, let's see if I fuck this up. Yeah, tried to add on there. Yeah, it looks like I got dinged on this a little bit when this washed out on us here. So another little kind of knife situation. Looks like I got up to like 8,000 shares, wanted to buy this dip down here, and ultimately it just wanted to wash through 4, wash through VWAP. So took that loss down there. Probably a good idea. Continued to fall under 390. So then, little 5-minute, not a great look, but there's nothing else setting up at this point. Tried some again here, another couple cuts, caught a little bit here. This was just a win a little bit, lose a little bit name all day for me. I mean, you can see I'm like seeing stuff that can go, and I'm taking a little bit and trying to scale a little bit, and then it goes against me, and I'm trying to add back, and then it fails, and just the same old thing over and over and over again. So I ended up down 900, but as much as I traded this in as big a size, it's really not that bad considering it never broke out. So that's PRPL. Okay, from there my losses get a lot smaller. So AAOI, let's see. This one I chased a little bit. Had this really nice look. I liked this. Lower volume, but like, riding the 8 up, higher lows, kind of has this little scoopy action. So like this is one that I needed to go ahead and break out. And so, when it didn't and pulled back, I rightfully, well, I guess it was 359. I mean, I let this come all the way down to support before I took it off, but at least I wasn't still around when this happened. So small cut there, 100, $200, whatever. All right, then VTAQ. I didn't really see this one until it was already going crazy, and I tried a couple support levels on this thing, thinking that maybe I would get like a reversal back up and scalp a few. I got up a couple $100, and then it just kind of kept rolling over, and it never really got much of bounce. So down $100 when I gave 1,000 shares a chance to make me 1,000, $1,500, and then tried it again on less size to make 500,000 bucks. Never got it. This is pretty good risk management. I'm okay with it. Let's see. I tried TMC. I don't really remember this one. Yeah, I liked this. The reason I liked this, I know this had an S3 on Friday, and so I was kind of a little bit hesitant about playing it, but I did like how it had this nice hourly consolidation, had a nice breakout above it, and then we came back and held the pivots pretty much perfectly here, these low ones this morning. So when it held up intraday and started putting in higher lows, I was like, okay, let me take a little bit. But I wanted it to go ahead and like really tighten up here, maybe get some volume towards that 128 break. And this wasn't a day that I could really have something just off on the side. There were too many positions I was having to babysit at one time all day today because everything was always just like chopping. Like nothing would get away from my average and just let me put attention elsewhere. So when this one curled back down and started to not look how I wanted it to, it kind of double bottomed here. I just took it off and said the hell with it, and didn't really do much anyway, so it's fine. DHT, this had a really great pattern today. It just didn't really have any volume. You can see, higher lows got really tight here against this flat top. I tried some here, and when it just rolled over on me and made a lower low, I took it off. Tried some again when it started to show some strength here and was pushing up against that 920. Again, when we didn't go, I took it off. So didn't really have enough range or movement again for me to try to play on a day like today when I just couldn't babysit things like this, these slow things. ALLK. This is the one that I'm annoyed with myself about because I had a really nice trade on this on the front end and I gave all those profits back, and I'll show you. A little bit tricky on the VPA actually. The 5 minute looked a lot better than the 1 minute. You can see these, like that's a high volume stuff candle off of high a day, and then a couple pretty high volume 1 minute candles there to the sell side. So we do have this flat top here that it broke out of on the one that it held. If we look left, let's see if there's any other levels on this thing that I missed. 536. Yeah, but that's way down here. I'm not really seeing a whole lot. Yeah, let's see if this level is something that I missed here. Like right about in here. Yeah, okay, perfect. Dumb, mark your daily levels. If I would have looked left a little bit more, you got this 560, 570 level in here that's, what this set up on, and it had some confluence here at this breakout level. So started getting long here, scaling into the push, adding some back, scaling into the push, scaling into the resistance here at 6. Added again on VWAP, kind of lower volume, expecting the higher low, which we got, and the push up into highs, scaled. Like I'm happy with how I traded this. I mean, this is good entries. It's on size. It's not freaking out. It's scaling at the top of the ranges. This is how I want to trade. And I think at this point, up scaling into these highs, like at this point in the day, right here when this trade was finished, I was up like 2.2 thousand on this thing. I was like really close to back to even after I took SNTI to the face, and even after PRPL wasn't working for me, and so on and so forth. I was very close to getting back to green here. Looked away from this thing. Now, when this started pulling back and kind of gave us a double top and what seemed like was going to be a higher low and was going to be like an inverse head and shoulders look, this started to appear like it might be the zombie name. And since everything else was chopping and failing off, what are you going to look to next? You're going to look to something that sold off, but it still has volume, still looks strong, still holding pre-market support levels to curl back up and go. Okay, so that's why I liked this. That's why I started to take some here, and this was not a full size. I was ready to add some more, and I was honestly pretty patient with these ads. If you look, I mean, I should not have let this come down and continue to add when this double bottom didn't hold. That's my big regret about this thing. It's okay to try to let this thing come and hold a double bottom, but the whole reason I got into this trade for the zombie move anyways was because it was putting in higher lows. It had seemed like it found its bottom. When this told me that it had not found its bottom and it's still putting in new lows, should have cut the damn thing. I should have never stuck with it. And so instead, I had 6,000 shares here. I should have been cutting 6,000 shares rather than adding 3,000 more. The thing that tripped me up was, if you look left, this 536, 530s, this is where you start to get real support. We're still kind of above support in these areas, So in my mind, okay, we haven't really come down to support. I was going to be super pissed if I took this position off here and then it just do a little tap on 536 and then go back up. That would have been really annoying. So I stuck with it. But, when this held 536, chopped sideways, not showing any strength, buyers aren't confirming the support level, comes back down again below 539, which is kind of a flat bottom area, I start to reduce some risk. Then it comes down to, this lower trend line that I drew, and, kind of seemed like you might get the washout long look here, but, tried to take some off of this level right here, but when it just continued to put in lows, I took the damn thing off. And I'm really, really pissed at this point because that great trade that I had to open the day, I gave it all back. You can see I made $200 on this name. I was up 2.2K on this thing before I did this. So it always, it's usually where you finally cut and run that it's about at its bottom. And that was the case here as well. I mean, this is not something I would have continued to sit through, but it does suck because I was so close to the bottom, and I did figure that this was possible or likely, and I missed all of it. So gave back my gains. This would have made my day a lot more manageable if I just held onto those gains and not given them back on this. So this is the one that is heartburn for me. I had a mistake on AVYA, buying high, expecting to break out, holding too far down to support. That was mistake number one. This is the big one that I remembered that I was mad at myself about, giving back my gains on ALOK. Tried this again late in the day because it, acted like it might want to just, curl up for a scalp, but it was nothing there. SHPH, this one also was almost a great trade for me. This thing sold off. I mean, this is definitely just kind of like a retrace bounce scalp type thing. But, today it was putting in higher lows, had this nice scoopy looking, clean looking action, and, held on VWAP here. So, I had a decent trade on this thing when I bought a little bit here, and then we got the move to 10 and I scalped some. So I'm up, $500 or something, and I wanted to move to high a day with the rest. And so I tried to add back at support levels, did a pretty good job of it, scaled again. Ultimately had to take it off when it kind of violently busted down through VWAP here. And had a little bit of size there because I had added some back. I thought this looked really nice to make the move. And, we just got no follow through anywhere today, man. And some days are like this. I just, I gave back a little bit more gains than I should have because I was up 800 or 1,000 when this was looking nice. So Gave back a little bit there. But I mean, that would have been a really nice trade to go test high days, and it looked like it could do it. It was a slower name, lesser volume, kind of off the radar, and it was definitely backside. So there were some things going against it in retrospect, but I didn't play super heavy, and I, you know, added where I should have, scaled where I should have, just never got the breakout. Okay, AVCT. This is the last one. So I don't know if you guys have noticed yet. Not a single one of my trades broke out today. Like I got some scales at upper ranges of chop ranges, but nothing broke out for me today. So all things considered, with the size I took, and I made a couple mistakes. That's fine. But all things considered, the size I took, I'm not mad at myself about how I traded today. I don't feel like I traded poorly. So these days happen. I'm not beating myself up about it. AVCT, I don't even know why this was up. We're trading under resistance here, this 25, looking left, but we do have a little bit of support here off this 21, and you can see a little bit here off this 22, and we kind of have this nice consolidation range. It's getting tighter. One thing I did not like about this, I took this a little bit lighter on a thumbnail at this point, not really realizing that the range was so small, so it wasn't really enough size. But what I didn't like about this, first and foremost, was that we are putting in this wedge, right, and we get these trend line taps, and we have it established, and then we curl up here. I didn't like that we didn't go for an upper trend line test before we pulled back for the lower trend line test again after this tap. Okay, so that usually makes me nervous. I'm a lot more confident in a lower trend line tap after it's just come off of an upper trend line tap. But anyway, I took some here. I think I just was wanting to protect myself a little bit, having that in mind. So I just took it off. Oh, that's what it was. It was on a thumbnail. I realized the range wasn't that big. I didn't want to babysit this thing and have it wash on me and me not notice, so I just took it off. But when it did make an upper trend line tap again this time and then pulled back, then I was more confident to start buying dips. So I got a little bit heavier. I got up to 50,000 shares, which I honestly didn't realize was also not enough. Scaled 30,000 here, added back 90 more thousand here, so I had 110,000, like decent size. And then when this started pushing up here and just like was failing, I'm just scaling out against this pivot because nothing broke out for me. So got out of that. It ultimately ended up curling up and making highs again. But damn, I got $600 out of the this trade. Like I got a cent or two. Like that's about as much as I could get anything to go in my favor today. So anyway, that's all my trades for today. So what do you guys think? Did I fuck up royally? I was down about $4,000 today. That's where I ended. Like, did I fuck up royally, or did I do okay and just nothing worked out? What do you think? Give me some feedback. Give me some critique. Yeah, it was a tough day. Did you guys experience a similar type of day that I did, or did you come out on top? And if you did, what did you do? Yeah, thanks, Sala. I felt pretty good about it. I do think, like, here's what I'll say. If you guys have joined me on my streams and you've listened to me talk about the lessons that I've been trying to implement in my trading, I feel like even though today nothing worked and I took a pretty big red day, I feel like I improved in the areas I was trying to improve. I don't feel like I was emotional even with size, and I feel like I was, for the most part, pretty disciplined about adding where I'm supposed to add, scaling where I'm supposed to scale. Sometimes I held a little bit too long before stopping out, but I feel like I have improved in the areas that I've been trying to. And so that's encouraging, and it's nice to take that away even on a big red day like this. So the encouraging piece is, you know, if I can trade like I did today and we have some that break out and we, you know, have a hot market again one day maybe, then I'm pretty sure I'm in a bank, you know. Um, yeah, solid. I've had some very expensive lessons, and you know, I really there's only a couple things I kind of have heartburn with myself about today, and they're not new mistakes. They're stuff that I've struggled with, but for the most part, I was pretty dang good with what I was trying to do. So, um, do I trade stocks? Yeah, I don't really understand that question. I'm on Thinkorswim. This is what my that's what I'm showing on my screen. Okay, you asked about crypto. I just reactivated my Coinbase today. Like, you know, SPY bleeding again, and you know, I'm kind of hoping honestly that this is the leg down into like the 350, 320 area. Um, if we get down into those ranges, you know, because I still have my job, right? And I have a 401k. So I have like I've just only contributed the company match to my 401k this year because honestly, the only way I really know to play the market right now with my 401k, which I don't manage myself, is to wait until SPY gets down really low and then just have them contribute my entire paychecks until I max it out into my 401k when we get down at those ranges. And I'm thinking maybe like, okay, yeah, that's kind of like buying at the bottom, right? um, So anyway, that has nothing to do with crypto. But I did also reactivate my Coinbase account because, you know, Bitcoin was kind of like sitting around. Let's see, where is Bitcoin right now, actually? Let me pull up that chart. Okay, so we got a little bounce. I bought a little bit this morning, um, somewhere in the 18s, I think, right? Wasn't it in the 18s this morning? Yeah, yeah, I bought some in the 18s. So, uh, hell yeah, I'm up $30, baby. I threw like 500 bucks into Bitcoin this morning just as a starter, and really it was a test. Like I thought I had to load money back into my Coinbase, which I thought I had to like have cash clear and stuff. So I think um, so I threw $500 to see if I just could buy it right now because I didn't want to be left where it like dips to 14,000 or 12,000 and I wasn't able to buy it or whatever. So this just was confirmed that I could buy Bitcoin directly through Coinbase. So I threw $500 in. I'm willing to, you know, add in some bigger size on Bitcoin if we do get that dump below this current consolidation that it's at right now. So I'm prepared to trade some Bitcoin, but no, I don't really trade like crypto the way that I day trade stocks. Uh, Herman, if that answers your question. This is called Thinkorswim. It's TD Ameritrade's platform. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All good. What else, guys? I gotta go jump on a call here in about 15 or 20 minutes, but I'm down to hang out until then. So I mean, if there's another chart you want to look at or anything more specifically about my trades you want to talk about or um, whatever, let's do it. Yeah. So okay, PRPL. The reason this was like I was expecting this to be such a headache today is because um, it was hard to borrow on Thinkorswim. Like so, most um, most names on Thinkorswim are not shortable. but this one was this morning. And so usually what that means is you're going to have a bunch of, let me remove these for now. This is really distracting trying to look at the chart. So usually what that means is you have a bunch of novice shorts piling in, and so you get squeezes more easily at more levels. Like smart shorts are, being patient, waiting for price action to tell them when it's time to take a starter, and then they're patient and have loose stops. Those are good shorts. Those are the ones that on the trickier to short names, like the ones that you have to actually locate shares, they're going to behave a little bit differently than one that, the masses can short. Like the masses will, if you're not experienced shorting, will try to short, individual pivots and things inside chop ranges. And so you can get some, the price action can kind of like snowball and compound on itself to do these squeezes. And so thought that this one was going to be a lot trappier in this way today. And it kind of was, I guess, but nothing that was really like violent. I mean, this is just sideways chop, and it's very difficult. It was very difficult to be on the right side of this all day today. I probably for both sides. But if something is shortable on Thinkorswim, that like triggers something in my head to kind of view it differently. So you got some of this open move. Like the thing about this open move is, like if you want to look at how you approach this type of open is, and I know it held like a kind of a support level here, but this is not a statistically profitable setup for me. Like first few candles after the open, all red, dip, higher volume, much higher volume than pre-market. I'm not buying that. And maybe when it puts in a higher low and chops, like maybe if you're playing the tape in level 2 and you have just a couple cents risk here, maybe. But this, I'm going to wait till it gives me that higher volume push through VWAP to prove its strength to me. So this really was the entry. Like, it didn't give as much pullback as I wanted, but this was the entry. This goes to show you it doesn't always come down to your support level. It doesn't always come down to the pivot or the actual support level. The strong ones are going to hold up, and so that's where being quick with the level 2 and the tape can help you. If you're glued into that and you see that tape shift fast enough, you can slam this thing and you're not going to be red. Like look how violently that pops up right there on volume. That was the dip. This was the 5-minute dip, just didn't play out. So I don't know. This one was tricky. This move could have been caught. This is not a setup that I would take. Beacon, what's up, Jumanjis? At teens tickers. Teens tickers 951 dip. Sorry if you're seeing this twice. Saw you lost second garage. Okay. What's up, Canadian? I don't have a rule against it. I mean, I'll trade something again if it looks nice. It was kind of a different setup than I've back tested. I've been playing them, like I'm feeling comfortable with those kind of below VWAP zombie move setups. And I went through that, and I know why I did what I did on it. It was unfortunate. There were a couple of tricky things in there that made me stick with it longer than I should have. I don't have a rule against it. I should have been more disciplined about what I needed to see to stay with the trades. Yeah, you're right, Jumanis. I do need to trade more expensive tickers, and I need to get more comfortable with the spreads and sizing accordingly. And I tend to, the reason I stay away from those is I tend to get heavier than I mean to, and then when it's chopping and its ranges are coming down to support or bids are falling out and it's just a spread dip in a wick, my P&L flashes way redder than I ever intended to be, and so I've got to get better at that. Yeah, I mean, you're totally right about that, Jumanji's. Also, what do you think about my glasses? When I got these, I was like, man, I look a little bit like Jumanji's in these. I think they're kind of similar to yours. Okay, you said BCAN. Let's look at BCAN. I saw this going in pre-market, but I didn't really otherwise pay much attention to it. Um, so I don't know what the hell happened to this. Why did this do this? Why is this up? Yeah, I had to get some blue light glasses, Jumanjis. Um, I don't know, whatever. This was up. When I saw this in pre-market, I don't like this shit. $4 to $25 on what, 20,000 volume? Like, fuck that. I'm not touching that. So I already was not interested in this thing and how thin and rangy it was. So it opens. You have a halt down, curl, another halt down, it looks like. Um, Wait, what are you talking about? Why would you trade this, Jumanjis? You talking about in pre-market? Yeah, I don't know. I don't like this. Yeah. Yeah, I just, maybe if I start seeing like if I start seeing big moves out of things like this on good setups that make sense to me or off of like, clearly identifiable levels with identifiable risk, um, maybe I'll look into playing them more. But like I just don't, especially in pre-market, I just don't see a lot that is enticing to me. I know it made a massive move, but like I've gotten wrecked when these things go the other way on stuff like this. So I personally don't like this one, but what else, guys? I got about 10 more minutes. What will be helpful for you guys to talk about? Do you ever add size to a trade you're already profitable in? Yes. Um, in a hotter market, I will add to a position into chipping walls when breakouts are having follow through. And so there's a difference between being a breakout trader, which sometimes I will slap into a breaking wall to get a scalp, but like I know in my head that I'm quick reacting on that. If that doesn't go, I'm giving it that couple of cents of risk, but I need to take it off. I don't need to hold for a dip if I'm doing that, but I'm not a breakout trader. So what my ideal scenario is in a hotter market when we have follow through, like, and what I mean by follow through is that resistance wall chips and price continues to move and follow through past it. It doesn't pull back under it right after it does it. When we're seeing that consistently in the market, and I have a nice position down lower off of actual support. When price moves up and we're getting that breakout and volume's increasing, tape is speeding and spitting, I will slap into that wall and get some additional size, and I'll use that size to scalp the breakout move, and then I have my full size from the bottom still in to ride out for the follow through. So that is a situation where I'll add size into a trade that I'm already profitable on. I don't really have a rule that if I made money on a ticker, I leave it alone. Might be a good idea if you do give back gains a lot, like I did on ALLK today, but I don't feel like that's such a pervasive problem for me that I need to make that a rule for myself right now. If I continue to screw that up, then I will. Was there a ticker that was textbook set up to you? Um, yeah. Uh, PRPL. I mean, very rarely are you going to find something that is, absolutely perfect, but this is a pretty good 5-minute flag. This is an example of perfect VPA. Now, okay, one thing that Dom pointed out, you had basically one flag breakout, two flag breakouts, three flag breakouts even. So this was like the fourth flag. So that's not, the more legs it puts up, the less likely it's going to continue to put legs. But otherwise, if you just isolate this, this is a pretty damn good 5-minute flag. That VPA is gorgeous. ADMA coming up. You found a support level on the daily. That's a lot. That's enough to go off of. That's a pretty good setup right there. Others, let's see if any of these others really gave us a textbook setup. Not really on that one. Nothing that screams at me. Oops. PRPL. This is a pretty good 5-minute flag. Dadgummit. This is a pretty good 5-minute flag right here. I would say this is pretty close to textbook because you've got this 390 level looking left. You have it respects it in pre-market. It's higher volume push through VWAP, low volume pullback. The VPA is nice. This is a good setup. You kind of have these wicks to form a downtrend retest right there. It didn't break out, but I think that was a pretty good setup. AVCT might have today. That's a pretty good 1-minute flag. That's a pretty textbook 1-minute flag right there. Maybe if it would have flash dipped down to this wick or something for nice entries right okay, are we back? Yeah, should be good. Yeah, batteries. These batteries die kind of fast actually, but it's okay. You just swap them out. It takes 2 seconds. So pretty okay. Pretty good 1-minute flag right there. Let's go over here and look at the 5. Why does it do this? I mean, that's even kind of a sideways 5-minute flag. That's really good VPA right there. That's a nice flag for that little. I mean, granted, we get 1 cent. you know, um, today is not a great example of nice textbook setups because even if stuff looked good, like nothing broke out today. It just was, it's something to keep in mind. September is traditionally slow. Today was no exception. Last week, I think, was early September was freaking terrible. Last week was a little bit better at times, but still, I mean, it's tough right now. Yeah, I mean, now is a really good time to be working on specific things in your trading. Like now is not the time to just like, you know, be trying stuff out and hoping for profits. Like this is a really good time for someone like me to be working on the things that I'm trying to work on. Like this market will make me, like it will punish me so bad if I don't stay disciplined on my dip entries, scale at the right places. If I'm taking size at the bottom and I'm not performing how I'm supposed to at entries, or maybe I am. If I'm scaling out too quickly, then my risk reward will be off. That will punish me as well. This is a good environment where there's very little forgiveness. So I've got to be sharp. I've got to, really hit my marks on what I'm trying to do to have an edge in this market. And so that's really good. Like this I think is refining me as a trader a lot more than an easy market. So trying to see the silver lining and make the best of what's going on right now, because I do think it's going to pay dividends when things heat up and when charts break out. And so I feel good about today. I know I took the big red, but that's playing with this size. That's the size red's going to be sometimes, and I'm going to have green that's going to pay off if I can trade like I trade today, because we will have charts that will break out and they won't always knife on us. It won't always be chop. Okay, I've got a bounce here in a second. Strong pivot at 520. All right, let's look at this pivot really quick, and then I got a bounce on ALK. Yeah, I'm seeing the pivot more at I mean, yeah, but 30 was really where I was thinking this thing should hold. Um, get naked. My head's naked, rising. Uh, yeah, that 536 was really the level that I wanted it to hold. But okay, I gotta go jump on a call. I will catch you guys later. I'll upload this replay to YouTube later too. So, um, red day for me. If you're red, don't beat yourself up about it. It was a really, really tough day. There wasn't much to be had on the long side. As you can see, I think I traded pretty dang good, and I'm, really pretty red. So um, I feel good about today, and I'm going to carry that forward into tomorrow. Try to be on my game again, and hopefully it'll work for me. So I'll catch you guys on the floor tomorrow. Peace.